Well, hi everyone, and welcome to Reality Bites. And a very special hello to all the members of the Australian Hairdressing Council. A sincere thank you for your support. I'm going to cover two things today. The first one is what everybody is always asking when it comes to the Australian Hairdressing Council. I think it's the most asked question, and that is, where are all the staff? Why can't I get staff? Why is it that when I advertise, I don't get a response? That's the first thing I want to talk about. And then the second thing I want to talk about is sponsorship, as in visa sponsorship, and in particular the 482. So for those who are doing sponsorship at the moment, you would know that the 457 is no longer available. It was a 4-year sponsorship, and we're now a 482, which is only a 2-year sponsorship. So I just want to cover what we're doing in that area as well. So first of all, I want to give you a picture though of what our hairdressing industry looks like. And the figures that I'm going to give you are very current right now. I've been very lucky to have quite a few people support the AHC in helping us put this together. These figures come from a submission that's gone to the government, as in the Department of Education under Minister Michaela Cash, and also to Minister David Coleman, who is the Minister for Immigration and Home Affairs. So this is how our industry looks like at the moment, and these numbers that I'm going to give you will cover hairdressing, beauty, and also barbering, because the government does not separate them. So bear in mind, this will cover the three industries for the moment. So at the moment, there's 106,000 ABNs, 716 that are currently active in our industry covering hair, beauty and barbering. Now, out of that 106,716, there's approximately 13,000 hairdressing salons. And out of that 13,000 hairdressing salons, the employees that we're showing is 34,335. Now, if you want to put those sums together, that will very clearly show you that there are not many hairdressers in our industry. And those figures too actually include apprentices. So that doesn't leave many salons that have staff out there. And that's why we're all struggling. So where are all the others? Now, bear in mind that includes beauty and also barbering. But when you still look at over 106,000 ABNs and only 13,000 shop fronts, there is a huge number that are operating from home. Now, I need to stress the AHC does not have a problem with a home salon, and there are reasons why home salons do work. We do have a problem though if there is a home salon, or sometimes we call them kitchen operators or cottage operators, and they're the businesses that are not acting with ethical practices in mind, okay, as in taking cash. In fact, the hairdressing industry is in the top 3 concerns for the Treasury when it comes to the black economy, because we contribute to a conservative amount of $26 billion, which is considered how much the black economy is at the moment. And if you have a look at these ABNs, then that will give you an idea of just how much we do contribute. Now, some of those ABNs, though, are qualified hairdressers. Some of them could be apprentices who didn't finish, because bear in mind, in the last 9 years, our apprentice completions have halved. And at the moment, only 28.1% of apprentices actually complete their apprenticeship. And that in itself creates a massive gap in our industry. The other concern is only in South Australia and New South Wales do you need a qualification to do hair. And what that means is that in all other states, and mind you, it is not really regulated either, so you do need to have a qualification in South Australia and New South Wales, but it's not really regulated. So in all other states, it's not necessary to have a qualification. So many of these ABNs could actually represent unqualified people doing hair at home. This is one reason why the Australian Hairdressing Council actually set up HAIR, which is the Hairdressing Australian Industry Register. And if you're a qualified hairdresser, please consider registering your qualification, because this was our way of trying to clean up and tidy up our industry and recognise the hairdressers who've done their time and are qualified and are working in the industry. And that includes teachers too, by the way. Now, the other thing that the Australian Hairdressing Council has been working on is in looking at these stats, it's really difficult for us at the moment to get staff. Bear in mind, 90% of our industry is female. So yes, a lot of us have chosen to work at home because of our families, and we need to be flexible. And if there's one tip that I can give you when it comes to employing staff, you really do need to be flexible nowadays. But the issue at the moment too is that for many of us, we want to employ overseas talent because we can't get Australian talent. And so the 482 at the moment only allows talent to come into the country as a qualified stylist for 2 years. And that's just not long enough to come into a salon culture, build a clientele and maintain that clientele. And then once you have that clientele, then basically you have to leave the country. So the AHC has put in a submission to the government to extend our visas or a visa to a four-year term with a pathway to residency as well. And there would be conditions to that. Bear in mind that not that long ago, the hairdressing industry was used as a backdoor visa to get into the country. And so what the government doesn't want is for that to happen again, because we had thousands of immigrants come into the country, and there were actually some very dodgy RTOs. They're the colleges like TAFE and private colleges, that's Registered Training Organisation. There were a number of colleges that opened up, and basically they were cowboys. And so they were charging cash as well to give individuals hairdressing qualifications when they hadn't done the time or the study, but it was really just to get them into the country. Now, the government doesn't want that to happen. In fact, they've spent the last few years shutting down a lot of our colleges, and we've gone from 191 down to 98 because there were a lot of cowboy colleges out there. And at the moment, it's really difficult. If you're an RTO, as you know, it's really difficult to operate in business nowadays. So we don't want that, and the government doesn't want that, but what we do want is we don't want unqualified people in the industry, we want qualified. And so there's something that the Australian Hairdressing Council needs from you. Now, this week I was at Parliament House, and the one thing that the government wants is they want evidence. And even though we've put in a very strong submission, they want to see that there is a gap in the industry. They want to hear from you. So I actually need case studies, and I really implore you to send a case study. And all a case study is a letter to myself or to whom it may concern. And basically in the case study, it just needs to be a summary of who you are, how long you've been in business. They do need to know that you actually pay your staff well, and that you do employ apprentices, that you employ Australians, and that you find it very difficult to get staff. So what they want is they want you to show how many times you've placed ads, how much it's cost you, and just exactly what response have you had. The other thing that the AHC will be doing is we're going to send out a survey, because they also want us to survey the industry, and they want 100 minimum responses. And what we need is for everyone who's found it difficult to get staff to please fill in the survey so that we can then hand that to the government. Not only will we have a survey that shows there is a massive gap in the industry, that every one of us is finding it difficult to get qualified staff and apprentices as well. And we also need to show them that we would love to employ Australians first, but we really do need to look outside of that at the moment and look at sponsoring as well. So the government needs to see that we are struggling. You and I know we're struggling to get staff. We've done a very strong submission, but we need more support from you. So, to summarise, it would be really wonderful for all the qualified hairdressers in the industry to please join HAIR. That's the Hairdressing Australian Industry Register. And you'll find that on the Australian Hairdressing Council website. Now, it doesn't cost a lot of money to join HAIR, and in fact, that money will go to helping us with the industry, as in the work that we do with the industry, for the industry. The second thing is, if you've been struggling to get staff, if you can send me a letter, an email to ceo@theahc.org.au. And the last thing that I really need from you is if you can fill out a survey. Thanks everyone. That's me from Reality Bites. Let's hope that we can make this industry fantastic and exciting and sexy again together. Bye for now.